I would tell my younger self 3 things. Number 1, that nothing is random. Number 2, everything works out, especially when it seems like it's not working out. And number 3, you can never have enough love in your life. And now I'm going to tell you why I would tell my younger self those 3 things. Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the Quantum Coaching certification, and multiple 6-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Go shawty, it's my birthday. Go shawty, it's my birthday. Yay! Hey everyone, it is December 28th, which means it's my birthday. Yes, I'm so excited to have an episode airing on my birthday. That's the first time that this has happened, which is super fun. And today I figured since it is my birthday, I should share my life story in a very condensed version. Obviously, you know a lot about me already. You know my beliefs and my thoughts and things about me in that way, but also I don't think I've ever shared my life story, and I want to share it for a couple reasons, and one of those reasons being that it heavily involves my biological father, who I didn't meet till I was 15, which you're going to learn about, and right now he is fighting for his life. He was diagnosed with COVID-19, and he is on a ventilator right now in the hospital, and it's been a rough last year for him. My stepmom, his wife Beverly, and him, they haven't even left the house, since COVID. They don't put themselves at risk at all, and they still got it. And they're 2 people that would be really high risk. And unfortunately, he is not one of those cases that is like asymptomatic, to say the least. So I just want to celebrate my relationship with my father on my birthday, and also ask for all the love and prayers that I can possibly get for him to pull through this. He's a fighter, and we're not giving up on him. It's been a week since he's been there. We were going to go to Mexico for New Year's, but we canceled our trip just to stick around and be close to home and stay as safe as we can. So this episode is dedicated to Saul Victor, my father, and I'm excited to share this story with you. The podcast that I'm sharing with you today is from a talk that I gave a couple years ago at an event called Building Muscle with my friend Nate, who actually wrote a book. And the book's called Building Muscle, by the way. And he asked in the book, if every morning you went into your bathroom to wash up and you could speak with a younger version of yourself in that mirror, what would you want to say to your younger self? What would be your advice to your younger self? And I think this is a good question for you to ask yourself. But when I reflected on it, I would tell my younger self 3 things. Number 1, that nothing is random. Number 2, everything works out, especially when it seems like it's not working out. And number 3, you can never have enough love in your life. And now I'm going to tell you why I would tell my younger self those 3 things. As a 2-year-old, my mom told me that I waited on the front step of our apartment, and she would say, "Ashley, what are you waiting for?" And she told me that I said to her, "I'm waiting for my daddy." And she asked me, "Well, what are you going to tell your dad when he gets here?" And I said, "I'm going to tell him that I love him." And my mom told me this story right around the age of 15, which is when I actually was open to meeting my real dad for the first time ever. And what most people don't know about me is that for 29 years of my life, I've been blessed with the challenge of my mom's addiction. And I've been blessed not to know my real dad until I was 15 years old. And the key word here is blessed, right? So here's the thing. All we are is a summation of our own self-assessments and our choices. Now, I came to the word blessed by being able to self-assess my life. And when we look at our circumstances, such as not knowing my real father and my mom's addiction, and we all have circumstances, don't we? Right? We all have our stories, our things that have happened to us, which is exactly why we can't judge people, because we've all been through something. And instead of judging each other, realizing that those things that we've been through are actually what connect us all. So here is how it works. We have our life and we have our challenges, and they're either going to build our muscle or they're going to make us weak. And how am I going to choose to feel about what is happening in my life? How are you going to choose to feel about what is happening in your life? And so I chose to feel blessed. I was raised as an only child, and my mom and my stepdad, whose name is Albert, who you see in a lot of my stories on social media, he was really like my real dad. He came in when I was 2, and he raised me. And he raised me with so much love that I didn't even feel like I wanted to meet my biological dad, because I felt like I had all the love that I needed. And I never wanted brothers or sisters. I only ever wanted nieces and nephews. But when I realized that I actually needed siblings to have nieces and nephews, I changed my mind. So I made a pact with my cousins that when we have kids, we would be their aunts and uncles, because we're all only children in my family. So my mom met my stepdad when I was 2, and his name is Albert, like I said, and I just started calling him dad, and he loved it, and he just went with it. And he also always wanted to adopt me, but my mom was like, no, like, I don't want anyone to have a say over my daughter, like, but you can be her dad and show up for her. And he did. He was at everything, every sports game, every play. I mean, in basketball, he would coach. He'd be like, "Brooke, get in the center. He would tell me what to do. And he's my dad. Like, he is my dad. And so him and my mom separated when I was in 3rd grade. And my mom was very sickly. She has Crohn's disease. And she was sick a lot. She was in and out of the hospital a lot. She was very depressed. And I actually had to step into the mom role in our relationship. I was like her mom. And when I was 14, she got into a really bad car accident. And she was in intensive care, and it was really touch and go. And this was like the story of my life when I was younger. Like, I was always just worried and scared that I was going to lose my mom, whether she was sick or in an accident or something bad happened. Like, it was just always a fear of mine. And so we're laying there in her hospital bed in intensive care, and she looks at me and she's like, "Ashley, I really want you to meet your real father." Now, my real dad had come in and out of sending me letters and some gifts from like age 10 and up, and like was wanting to meet me, and I was very closed off to it. But when my mom asked me this, with the state that she was in, I was just like, okay, yes, like, sure, I'll meet him. And she always said to me that you can never have enough love in your life. And I was like, okay. Like, that was very much ingrained in my being. And in that moment, it was a self-assessment and a choice. Was I going to shut out love, potential love, and live in avoidance? Or was I going to let the love into my life? And I was a child that loved being loved. I loved my mom so much and looked after her and took care of her because she was really sick, which is how she ended up developing addiction to pain medicine. And I always knew that there was an issue. I just didn't always understand what it was, but I knew something wasn't right. And with that fed into the fear that I was going to lose my mom even further from illness, from pills, from an accident. So I learned at a young age like how to pray. And I always prayed for her health and for her happiness. And if I could go back and tell my younger self something in that moment, it would be what I started with. And that is that it always works out even when you don't understand how it's going to work out. So just remember that and pocket that for a minute. So my mom recovered from the hospital. She recovered from the accident. It was a long recovery. And when I was 15, we decided it was time to do the thing I told her that I was going to do, which was meet my dad. So we arranged to have a dinner. And I remember being really nervous, and my mom went with me, and she like held my hand the whole time. And I remember sitting there at the table with my head down, just like not even being able to like look up and look at him. It wasn't like one of those Maury shows or like one of those shows where you reunite with your birth parents and everyone is crying and hugging. It was like, oh my God, I'm going to puke. And for the first time in my life, I turned into a mute. Literally, I did not talk at all. I just let him and my mom catch up. They obviously had lots to catch up on. And I just got to like I just had to like get through that. You know, I had to get through that dinner. And to be honest with you, I had no feelings for him. I had no feelings for this stranger. You know, I was 15, and honestly, I just wanted boobs, and I was just curious if his mom had them. I know it's like so silly, but like seriously, that's where my head was. You know, I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't have anything to say to you. I don't know what to ask you. It was just awkward, and it was scary. You know, I agreed to go to this dinner for my mom. So after dinner, we went to the parking lot and we were saying goodbye. And he went to his car and he was like, hold on one second. And he came back with 15 red roses. And he said, this is for every year of your life that I missed. And I'm not going to miss another one. That really impacted me. Like I could get emotional right now just thinking about it. I didn't get emotional in that moment, but just that stayed with me. And we got in the car, and my mom turned to me and she said, you can never have enough love. And she was so proud of me for doing that, and just said, let's see what happens. And here's the thing. He was persistent, right? And I was a clam. I was totally closed and I was protecting myself. But my dad kept showing up. And he kept showing up. And he kept showing up. And at the time, it was like I was getting my permit and I was learning how to drive. And, you know, he would offer to come down and take me driving, which was great because my mom was freaking lunatic whenever I would drive with her. I'm sure you can relate to that. And had no patience with me. And he was just like, yeah, like he was so patient. He taught me how to parallel park and he helped me pass my driving test. And he wanted to make memories with me. Hold up while I sip my Organifi green juice real quick. Yes, Todd and I have been drinking our juice. We've been good boys and girls. And I want to remind you to drink your juice. If you have not yet had your juice today, or you haven't yet ordered your Organifi greens, what you waiting for? They are so good, so delicious. If you are ready to reset, return the body to homeostasis, if you're ready to reduce your cravings, if you're ready for micronutrients to help you infuse more superfoods for your body to feel more energized, more vital, and let's be real, just better about yourself because you're drinking something green in the morning, Organifi green juice is for you. If you're not into green juice, I do highly recommend just trying it. But they also have other juices, some that are more sweet. They really do have you covered from sunrise to sunset. They have a juice for morning, noon, and night. And if you want 15% off, I got you covered, boo. Just go to my link, www.organifi, ORGANIFI.com/manifest with Ash, MANIFESTWITHASH. I gotta spell it out because it's a podcast. Just go to Manifest with Ash and you'll get 15% off. You'll feel amazing. You're gonna feel like you're improving your total well-being, and I think you're gonna love the taste. So if you're ready for some moringa, some chlorella, some spirulina, some beetroot, some matcha green tea, some wheatgrass, some ashwagandha, turmeric, lemon juice, coconut water, it's all in there and it's all waiting for you. So go right now. I can't wait. And let me know how you love it. As persistent and consistent he was the same amount of resistant as I was. Yet I stuck it out. And it was a really hard time. It was really hard because my dad, Albert, and my real dad, Saul, they didn't know each other. So, I mean, they knew of each other, of course, but they didn't know each other. And my dad, Albert, was very protective over me and very jealous that he wanted to start seeing me because he raised me my whole life since I was 2 to 15, right? And beyond. So I remember it was really hard for him and I felt really bad. And eventually he got it. But it was tough. Even like my high school graduation, I remember he was like, I don't want to go if he's going to be there. And I was like, but it's not about you. It's about me, right? I'm graduating high school. Like, it's about letting the love in and celebrating the love that was there. So anyway, he got through that. That's like a total side note. But I think it's important to mention because they're two very different relationships in my life. And I never wanted to disrespect, Albert, my dad who raised me, who I don't even consider a stepdad. Like, I don't think of him as a stepdad. I don't have any really steps in my life. Like, all of my family is just my family. And that's how I see it. And I also see it that way because I was taught that from my dad, Saul's wife, Beverly, who's like a mom to me as well. And she has a very blended family, and she doesn't look at anybody as step or half or whatever. Like, we're all just family. And she taught me that. And I remember the day that I met her when I was 15, after I met Saul, and she was like the warmest energy to me. I was immediately just attracted to her energy, immediately comfortable with her, and would open up to her and wasn't like such a closed clam with her. I was like very, very, very intrigued by her. And she tells me now that she always wished that she had a daughter. And she manifested me as her daughter, which is really cool. So Saul and Bev, that's how we refer to them, Saul and Bev, they have a Hanukkah party every year. So when I was 16, they invited me to their Hanukkah party. And it was the first Hanukkah party that I ever went to. And I knew that I was going to meet more of the family. And so remember in the beginning when I was like, oh, I never wanted brothers and sisters, but I always wanted nieces and nephews. Well, I went to the Hanukkah party and I walked in and I met my half brother, my half sister, and then Bev's sons, which are also, I consider my brothers. And I had 11 nieces and nephews. Like, I had a whole bunch of nieces and nephews that I always wished for my whole life. And holy moly, I was like suddenly Aunt Ashley, just like in a flash. And it was amazing. And it's such a blessing. I love my family so much. I'm so close with my sister, Wendy. And we have such a beautiful relationship. And that makes my dad really happy. But this is stuff that has been built over the last 18 years of knowing them and growing to love them and cultivate amazing memories together. So suddenly I was Aunt Ashley. And I got to meet everyone, and it was just like very overwhelming, but it was also amazing and really, really special. Yeah, really special. And the following year, when I turned 17, because my birthday and Hanukkah are like in the same month, so I remember being at the Hanukkah party, and they were like handing out presents, and everyone got their present, and they were like looking at me, and they were like, Ashley, you didn't get your present. And they handed me this small little box. And I was like, okay, like, what's this? Like, I wasn't expecting anything, but I was open to receiving a present. I was 17. So I opened this little box, and there was a car key. And I had no idea when I got my license how I was going to drive, because my mom's health was in and out, and she was in and out of work for a long time, and we struggled financially. And I just remember saying to her, like, am I going to get a car? Like, am I going to drive? And she was just always like, I don't know. Like, we'll figure it out. We can share a car. Like, just whatever she was saying to just kind of like shut me up, I guess, from being an annoying 17-year-old. And I remember after looking at the key, everyone was staring at me, like everyone in the party, like 20 plus people. And they were like, go outside. And I was like, okay. And I went outside, and there was a brand new Hyundai Tiburon. It was like such a cute car, silver. And there was a big bow on it and balloons. And the balloon said, happy 17th birthday, Ashley. And I was like, what? Like, I was blown away. I was just like, wow, this is mine. Like, this is for me. Like, I mean, I had never been given a gift like, I mean, that's like, it was wild. I'll never forget it. It was so wild. And my mom was just so happy for me, because she knew that like me being open to receiving the love was actually bringing way more into my life than I could ever imagine. And yeah, it brought me a car, but it also brought me my family and years of amazing memories and just moments that I will always, always cherish. And so the story of, you know, how my dad came into my life was a story of just being open to love and being open to the possibilities. And I could assess the situation, and I could have been closed off to him. I could have not given him a chance, or my mom, luckily, she didn't brainwash me into thinking he was a terrible person for not wanting to be in my life, which he had good reasons for. But even if they weren't good reasons, I forgive him. I forgive him for not having the capacity to have me in his life the way that we could have. But I do know for a fact, because he's told me over and over again, that I was always in his heart. And I'm just so grateful for the way that we were able to build a relationship. And it's really because I was open to the love, but also he was consistent and persistent in being in my life. And when he gave me those 15 roses, he meant it. He said, I'm not going to miss another one. right? So it's a relationship that built and grew over time. And eventually I was able to tell him I love him and feel those emotions for him and accept the fact that I look exactly like him and, embrace him like a parent and respect him like a parent and all those things. And I'm just so lucky that I have my sister and my brother and my siblings and extended family. Like, it's so beautiful. And Beverly, I feel so lucky. I feel so blessed. And so the story of how him and my mom had me, which is like super personal, is that they were friends. My mom and him were friends for years. And they went out one night and got a little tipsy and bada bing, bada boom, how you doing? One night wonder right here. That's me. It's like when things are meant to be, when people are meant to be, they happen. I wanted to come in, and I wanted to come in this way, and I wanted to have this experience. And I mean, I connect that to my fertility journey because, like, you can't plan these things all the time. Sometimes they just happen. Sometimes the best things just happen. My mom will tell me I'm the best mistake she ever made. No, she never refers to me as a mistake, but honestly as a miracle, because she never even thought she could have kids because of her Crohn's disease. So it was just one of those things that happened. And I'm so glad that it did, because I wouldn't be who I am without it and without this background and this story and the ability to have made a lot of decisions on my own journey of letting love in or not letting love in. And so to switch gears a bit, to just close the loop with my mom was in denial for a long time that she even had an addiction. And it was extremely hard for me to deal with her being in denial and just dealing with it. I felt very, very helpless. And after years of me resisting it and trying to help her and trying to get her help, nothing really seemed to work. Like, nothing I said, everything was turned back around on me. And I eventually had to accept her. I had to accept her addiction, and I had to completely surrender to how she was choosing to live her life. That was a big, big, big moment for me. I remember, like, we went away. I took her to Disneyland or Disney World for Mother's Day one year, and it wasn't a great trip by any means. And on the way home, I just remember her being really out of it and trying to, like, Google as I was driving, like, how long does, like, this painkiller stay in your system? Because I wanted to make sure that she could drive home once I dropped myself off at the airport. But I was, like, just so done at that point. I was just at my breaking point with her. And I was like, you know what? I'm going home, and I have to just love her while I have her and accept her for who she is and what she's doing. And I have to just, like, let this go. Like, I have no control over whether or not she's going to continue to do this to herself. And it's like a crazy feeling. And if you've ever had someone in your life who suffered from addiction, then you probably understand what I'm talking about. And over the last, over those years, like at that point, over those years, her addiction really escalated. And she had promised me on and off that she would go get help, but it never happened. And I just never knew how anything was going to resolve. And I just ended up praying again, just like praying, I need help. Thank you for helping me, angels, God, like, thank you. And I not so randomly got a job at a rehab teaching yoga. And it gave me such a different perspective of the mindset and disease of addiction and depression. It turned my hopelessness into hope, actually. And it wasn't random that I ended up working there. It really wasn't. Like, I saw people die. I see people living and being empowered by yoga and moving their bodies. Like, I saw a lot of things. I saw people get sober and then relapse and come back 5 times when I was there. And I kept the hope alive, even though I didn't understand how it was going to work out. Like I said, I prayed and I reached out to my family and friends for support. And my mom came home from Florida, where she was living, for my grandfather's birthday for like a 4-day visit. And I knew at that time things were not great, because my family and friends in Florida were contacting me, just letting me know what the deal was. And she was ready to get help. And she told me. And because I not so randomly worked at a drug and alcohol rehab, I was able to get her all the help she needed. Fully scholarshiped. It was one of those other moments that was like getting my car, but it was better, right? It was like, oh my God, like, this is absolutely crazy. It was a miracle. It was an actual miracle. And there's a lot of more like miraculous details that I could put in, but just to keep it short and sweet, like, I've had enough experiences in my life to know that miracles are real. I've experienced them firsthand, and I've watched people in my life experience them. And that's why I would tell my younger self that nothing's random, that everything's going to work out, even if it seems like it's not working out, and that you can never have enough love. Because I do believe that the love that I have for my parents and for my life is what was part of the catalyst for all the miracles that I've received and that I've watched my loved ones receive. The beautiful part about it, as I reflect on it, is that the miracle happens when we surrender. Always. Like, I had to surrender to accept my mom exactly where she was. I had to meet her where she was and say, I've tried to change you my whole life, and now I'm just going to accept you. And then the miracle happened. And the miracle actually keeps happening, because my mom is going to celebrate 4 years in recovery in February. 4 years of doing the work and showing up for herself. And now she's actually enrolled in Quantum Coaching Academy, and she wants to become a coach and help other people change their life and allow the miracles into their life as well. And it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And my mom is one of my best friends. I talk to her every single day, and I'm so proud of her. I'm so, so proud of her. And like, the miracle of being able to let my dad into my life and have this whole other family was because I surrendered to love. I was resisting for years when my mom would say, oh, meet your dad. Do you want to meet your dad? I'd be like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. Protecting myself from more hurt. But really, like, when I let the love in, the love overpowered anything that I could ever have protected myself from. And so often we get really stuck in trying to protect ourselves from different feelings and being hurt in our life. But when we surrender and we accept that there's something more for us, and we can just meet people where they are, that's where the miracle happens. And now as I'm saying this, I'm realizing, like, that's why I'm a coach. That's why I do what I do. That's why I teach coaches how to coach. Because not only have I experienced it through coaching, but I've experienced it through my life, like the power of meeting people where they're at. That's literally what we do as coaches. So that's my story. And I want to share it with you because I hope that it resonates. I hope that you get something out of it. I hope that you let more love into your life. I hope that you allow yourself the grace and space to realize that nothing's random. Nothing's happening to you. It's all happening for you and through you. And as hard as it is to trust that at times it is the truth, and I'm sticking to that right now as I think about my dad, who is in intensive care on the ventilator fighting for his life. I trust that it's all happening for a greater reason, and I ask that if you have the capacity to pray for him, to please do so. Send him your love, send him your light, send him your healing energy. And just pray with me right now. Thank you, God, angels, for helping my dad heal and come out of this stronger and find the strength within him to help him get better and have the speediest recovery that he could possibly have. And I'm going to say a prayer for all of you who might have family members who are hurting right now or in the hospital or sick. I pray for them. I pray for them to have a speedy recovery. I'm sending them all of my light and healing energy, and I just pray and thank God and our angels to help all of the people that we love in our life heal and get better as fast as humanly possible. Amen, amen, amen. Well, that was the birthday edition, a little bit of an inside look at my life, and I really appreciate you listening and tuning in. And if this resonates with you, if you relate to my story, I'm sure we all have a story to tell. I want to empower you to share your story in any way that you can, because our stories are meant to connect us to each other and also help each other heal. And that's it. Sending you so much love, so much light, and something incredible is launching January 1st. Okay, so stay tuned for that. I can't wait to share it with you. So make sure you follow me on Instagram at Manifest with Ash so you can get the latest on what the heck is launching January 1st. I love you guys so much. Woo! We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at Manifest with Ash. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get 'em.